Oh, I haven't. Can you send one out right now?
Yeah,
I'm not on Twitter unless I'm on a certain computer. I took it off of all my devices.
I don't blame you.
don't
well-
blame you.
I refer to Twitter as toxic. So, I don't know. That's just my opinion.
Let's see. See that we're playing already on that part.
Yeah, I see live up in the left-hand corner.
Yep, it just went live on YouTube.
Let's
Oh,
see.
okay. So Heather is in the background. She's over here. She says hi.
Hi, Heather. How you doing?
Yeah, she's here. Yeah, she's here. She's moderating our end here. I'm going to stay on
sweet.
Streamlabs. And wow, my hair is really long.
It's nothing
Starting to
compared.
look a little bit like Jimmy Shaw over here, you know.
Yeah, I should have taken a shower already, but
Yeah.
it's been a long week. It's been a long day today.
I mean, that's why I'm literally eating dinner here on the stream. As I jumped in my car right after work, raced down here, threw this on, and I'm like, I gotta go stream. So bear with me for the next 3 minutes.
Eat your taco burrito or whatever that is, and let's say hey to everybody. Hey.
looks like we got Theresa up in the house.
Oh yeah. I'm not watching the chat at all. It's all you guys tonight.
Pop the chat up over here to the side. Zoom it in a little bit so I can see it a little bit better. Where's that zoom at?
I don't know.
There we go. I didn't know you could. Okay, that's better. Well, wax on, wax off.
Oh gosh.
Oh, Jimmy.
Well, guys, thank you very much for joining us. If you guys are watching us later, wish you could have joined us live. But tonight, we wanted to visit with our friend Jeff. We haven't seen him for a while. I went through Vegas. We were supposed to meet up, and it never happened.
It never happened. And I'm really sorry. Hey, everybody. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, Jimmy. The thing is I'm completely afraid of the plague. So, I mean, I haven't seen my daughter in weeks, and my sister, we basically told her she couldn't come around until she stayed away from people long enough that I felt comfortable with it. So,
Right.
It's a big deal to me. So I and nothing to do with you, nothing to do with you. It's just that I know you're at a Walmart all day. My wife comes home from work and I spray her down with Lysol. So
That's the reason why I told you, if you don't feel comfortable, we won't do it.
Yeah.
You know, it's made it very clear, and hopefully next time when we come through, things will be different.
I really hope it will be, because I kind of miss you, buddy. And you know, it was really sucked that I knew you were right across town and I couldn't hang out with you. And you were both a little upset about that because
You were pretty pissed. Don't even.
Yeah, all right, I was pissed. I was yelling at COVID like all day, like, dang you, COVID.
Damn you, COVID! Damn you!
It was too much. I just can't. I can't. I mean, I don't even go to work anymore. I got the kids here. We only go out for groceries and the occasional random trip for stuff. But I mean, I don't want to go into another restaurant probably for as long as I live. I'm never setting foot in a theater. Forget it. This thing's made me so paranoid. I'm considering shaving my head and being Howie Mandel about this. I'm getting to that point. I actually have the shaving kit right over there, and I'm very tempted to do it. So,
Oh, wow.
I don't know.
I will live stream that shit.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
this is a good stream. We got Heather in the we got faceless Heather going, I'll stream that. And I'm like,
Yep.
keep those clippers away from me though. That's all I'm gonna say.
Where are those clippers at? Aren't they out here somewhere?
I think I killed them with fire long ago while you were on vacation.
Yeah, that's true. And your hair's gotten damn long, Calvin. Damn long. I can see it from here. Yeah.
It's
Oh, wow.
mine's gotten a little bit long. It's time for me to go get a trim probably tomorrow, hopefully, if I can find anybody that'll do it. It's getting pretty bad when the hair cutting gets to a point where it's like, hey, meet me in the back alleyway. You know, I've got $30 I'll give you if you like just do me a favor.
I got scissors.
I got a favor to ask. How about we meet in the back? You know, I'll bring $30, you know, and
You
Keep on
know,
the down low.
I think I can hook you up, buddy. I think I got what you need right here.
I mean, if my old coworker Dave, his mom is still hiding behind the Castro Theater, she'll probably do it for $20. You know, if you're lucky.
That sounds so wrong. So wrong.
That was the whole point.
So, in Vegas, they've already opened up most of the hair places. I mean, you can go to Supercuts. They've just taken out every other chair. And
yeah.
I mean, I never talk to the hairstylist anymore anyway. So, she can keep her mask on. I'll keep mine on. I show her a picture of what I looked like last time. I say, do this. And then I say nothing until she's done and go, okay, that looks great. And I give her a tip and I leave. But I don't even want to do that. I feel like that the clippers are covered in plague.
Yeah. Well,
It's
they do
always-
sterilize them, so.
Well, I know they do. I've watched them super cut my hair for 20 some odd years, where they take it out of the green solution and it smells funny, and I know it's clean, but it's just, I don't know, man.
It's psychological, is what it is.
It is, because we watched after Mark Roper's video where he talked about how viruses spread by using the colored chalk and with kids and stuff. And then Heather and I watched one where they went around and swab tested like everything in a city, like from handrails to soda machine buttons. Literally everything had COVID. Right? Literally everything had COVID. Like literally everything. And this was like a couple of weeks ago, and it was just really, really bad. And now they're opening up, like Florida's opening up, and Nevada's starting to open up again. It's like, I'm still not leaving my house.
Here it's still not opened up that much. Now, San Francisco opened up the beauty salons after a certain representative went there and had her hair done on the QT, but not on the QT, and got caught with her pants down. All of a sudden, it miraculously next week opened up for everybody.
Yep.
Amazing how that worked.
That was like, the way California did it, they have what? Everything's purple until you go to red, and I think you go to orange and then yellow, and then you slowly get down the gradient, so they open things up. So San Francisco is this one little red dot in a whole sea of purple. It's like, come on, we know better than this.
You would think, but we watched a couple of videos just on what's going on in Los Angeles in general, in California, and I'll probably get a lot of hate and lose some followers for this, but I don't ever want to move to California ever again. It used to be my dream.
Yeah.
They made mistakes in Los Angeles in certain areas. Like we watched a video where they talk about, because of the pandemic, they released like tens of thousands of non-violent mental patients and criminals onto the street. And it's like, these people can't get jobs. Where do you think they're going to go?
Exactly.
No one's going to hire them. And then they recently lightened up the pedophilia laws, where if the child is consensual, then it's okay over a certain age. It's like, oh my God, you guys are scaring me.
It's like,
So everybody's leaving.
next. And what tool did you use to murder that person? Oh, it was a screwdriver. It wasn't a knife.
Yeah.
Okay, we can let the screwdriver people go, but the knife people and the gun people,
The gun
keep
people,
those.
the gun people will keep in guns will release because they can't buy one out here. Everybody else gets to stay locked up. California law.
I guess if you drop a safe on somebody like Wile E. Coyote, that's okay. But if you
Sure, it's worth under $750, and then you're perfectly fine.
So we watch these videos of all the homeless people and all the different problems and the fires and the unemployment and everything else, and it's just so scary. And I don't want that to happen here, because this is where I live.
Yeah.
And from what I understand from the videos that I watch, and even Joe Rogan, who's lost my respect today, he was saying that there's a mass exodus out of California because people just don't want to live there anymore. They've made it too expensive. The homeless population has taken over the streets of Los Angeles. Did you know that they're one of the only places on a U.S. map that has an area called Skid Row?
Oh, I'm not surprised. I
Doesn't
know.
surprise me.
I've been to LA. I know that approximate area, and it's sad when you roll through there because it's literally like you should just roll down your windows and start playing the Boulevard of Broken Dreams while you're going down
Of course,
there.
San Francisco is the same way, except they don't call a certain section Skid Row.
They call it
It's
the
all
Embarcadero.
Skid Row.
It's just literally just the most horrible people on the planet living on the streets.
Yeah.
And then the last one we watched was they found typhus or typhoid on some of the homeless people.
Yeah.
And like, okay. I was worried about coronavirus, and
That's the
now
little mites that they get that gets under your skin.
Yep.
No, it's not scabies. Is it scabies?
I don't know.
Anyway, whenever they go to clean an area wherever they've been, they actually have to go through and remove so many inches of dirt, scrape the whole ground down because it'll have those like mites in it.
Yep.
And the firefighters, the ambulance workers, anybody, law enforcement, anybody who walks through there will get that on them, and they end up getting infected with it.
Yeah. They were showing the underpasses, like by the 405, because like Governor Newsom signed something where he put like a couple hundred of these people in a nice housing somewhere. I don't know where that would be. Nice housing, low price, those things don't go together. But when they were cleaning the underpasses, they were steam cleaning them with guys that looked like they were walking out of like a nuclear power plant.
Yeah.
He said that still wasn't enough.
Yeah, and the needles are everywhere. Needles, you name it, it's there.
I don't even want to go to the beach. I mean, I know there's areas, so you avoid those areas. It's not like California is this big, giant, on fire cesspool of typhoid.
That's what the news lets you think it is.
I promise it's not all of that. There's very select areas, but I'm not saying where they are on camera, so not everybody goes there.
Let's put it this way. Calvin's been staying down here in Salinas. He doesn't even go up to San Francisco anymore.
Okay, well, I've been there to pick up my mail. I pretty much ran in there, grabbed my mail, grabbed some food, ran to Walnut Creek to drop some trains off at a safe distance with a friend, and ran back down.
Head back south again.
I'm like, getting out of here before it gets the plague.
I remember when we first started coming down here, he was like, I don't know about Salinas. I don't know about Salinas. I was like, yes, I'm back in Salinas.
Well, what the difference with California, like as a comparison with Las Vegas, is there's no suburbs here. You have Las Vegas, you have Henderson, you have North Las Vegas, but they're all in this little valley that you can see the edges of. I mean, you can literally see the entire populace of this town from the middle of it easily. Where you go to California and you have Los Angeles County and you have all these suburbs that go all the way out to San Bernardino, and they're all suffering the same problems. It's not like it's just one area. It's all the areas. When you say you've released tens of thousands of nonviolent mental patients or whatever they were, criminals onto the street, they're not all just going to cluster in one area. Right. They're going to go back home. And they may live in Chino, they may live in Laguna Beach, they may live here, but they're not going to be able to get a job because it's coronavirus. They're not going to be able to find an apartment because no one wants to rent that to a convicted criminal who was just released. So where do they end up? In the homeless shelters, filling them up with people who are like families who actually lost everything and need this kind of shelter. They're not getting it. They're ending up on the street as well. So these people, it's a first come, first serve kind of situation. So if you don't get to the homeless shelter by a certain time, you don't get a bed. Well, just imagine if 20% more people were in line than before, and they know that, and they're there earlier than you. You and your kids don't get to go into the homeless shelter, get a meal and maybe a shower, but instead it's filled up with people who are really, I don't want to say not deserving because everybody deserves a chance, but maybe these guys should have been put into some sort of housing system, not just set walking papers. Right. Maybe the Governor Newsom's plan to rehouse the homeless, where he opened up a couple hundred houses, it was just in the paper the other day. Those houses should have been split in half. Half of them should have gone to the people that got out of, whatever situation they were, whether it's prison or a mental institute or whatever you want to call it, psychiatric ward, and given them an opportunity to be away from people to get started on their life. Because if you've been in solitary confinement or sitting in a cell by yourself for 10, 15 years, I don't think you're socially inept enough to be hitting the streets.
Right.
And especially,
you're more than likely going to be socially awkward, agoraphobic, and probably quite defensive and very protective of your stuff. So you might want to transition. And I know they used to do that in Chicago. When my brother got out of Joliet State Prison, they wanted to put him into a transition home. And my dad was like, nah, he can come home. He just won't go anywhere until we say so. So that's the difference. Like these houses that they built for the homeless, half of them should be going to people who are suffering from other things than just homelessness. And then the people who were let out for drug problems, they should be put back in. I'm sorry, but they should just be put back in. Clean the prison, do a better job, put more money into the prison system, and don't just release people because you're scared of it spreading in the prisons. And what was it? I can't even remember who it was. Somebody spoke up and said, they need to release these prisoners. They are trapped, this, that, and the other. So they did it? I just don't get it. I'm having trouble grasping what happened over there. And I know you guys live there, so you should know. So,
well, the biggest thing that happened was they had an outbreak in Chico, wasn't it?
Yeah, and
I have the tabs on it all.
And so
yeah,
they're in their moment of epiphany, or however you want to word this,
Stupidity.
that would work. They decided, I got an idea. Let's spread the population of this prison out. Let's go ahead and just reduce this population. But what we'll do is we'll send them to these other prisons.
right.
We won't test them before we send them.
Won't quarantine them.
We won't quarantine them. We'll quarantine them on the other end.
Yeah.
And which they didn't.
Yeah.
Put them in general population, and it started spreading through. What's that one above San Francisco?
San Quentin.
San Quentin. That
Yeah,
one
it's
just
over.
got slammed by it.
Oh, well, San Quentin's ridiculously overcrowded. I mean, I guess for in terms of people that got released, when I was younger, sometimes I'd help volunteer over at like a rescue mission or something, and they know what they're doing with people to get them help, but obviously the state's not going to want to do that because the state's not going to make any money off of it. Because
Yeah.
it's pretty much, it's an open fact that the state's making money off the homeless crisis, so they're going to do anything they can to continue it. So it's like, oh, and it's a religiously run thing as well, so the state's like, oh, I don't want to deal with that, instead of being like, hey, you know, here's some people who want to get into this program, let's work together and do it. Yeah, no, the whole thing is just, it's frustrating because then it's like there's people like us who are like, oh, great, you have more crazies to deal with. And I won't lie, I'm glad I got out of San Francisco because it's like, I could see it was just going like
Or like
this
I like to say, oh, look, our tax dollars at work.
or not.
It did not work. Yeah.
And it's frustrating
It's
because
scary. It's scary for you guys. I'm afraid for you guys. I'm afraid for other YouTubers and social, like Chris and his family. You know, Chris Russell, and you know, we have you guys have up there. You have Heather and what's his name?
Travis.
Yep.
I mean, they have a kid. You know, they're up there doing the same thing as you guys. I mean, you're doing what you can to get along, but the state doesn't seem to really care much for you guys, and
They don't.
it's disgusting. It's disgusting. It's
It
disgusting.
is.
You know, when I was little, when I was like 12, 13, 14 years old, I discovered special makeup effects for movies, horror movies and stuff. And the only place you could learn how to do that and do it was Los Angeles. There was no other options.
Yeah.
So as a kid, there was the Westmore School of Makeup, which is, you know, they were like the top of the chain of makeup schools. You learn everything. They actually ended up opening one in Florida, and that was like a no-brainer. I'm not going there. But as a teenager, I had this dream of always moving to California. It was like, I can't wait to get to California. And, you know, our family trip there, I went to a skateboard park when I was a teenager, and I didn't want to leave, and I cried when we had to leave, and didn't get back for 20 some odd years, never came back. And then about 15 years ago, my sister and her husband at the time wanted to go to California. I wanted to go to Los Angeles. And I was like, all right, well, I've never actually been to Los Angeles. And they were like, yeah, we're going to fly into John Wayne Airport or Orange County Airport or whatever it is. And you can get the whole experience of like passing the big LAX sign and, you know, driving down the freeways and just being touristy about it. So that's what we did. I flew in with my sister. Her husband at the time was already there, and got in the rental car, and we were driving down whatever it is, the 405 to 10. And I started crying because I was so excited to be there. I was like, I finally made it. Yes, I'm finally in California. And then a few years later, before I met Heather, I started shopping for apartments and stuff, and went there a couple times with my sister and looking at places, and I had maps on the walls, and I had like this super plan ready. I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm finally going to move to California. And I met Heather, and, you know, she said, you know, I don't want to live in California. And I said, well, I love you, so I'll take that over California. So screw it, we can go visit there. And over time, we did. We went to Laguna Beach. I took my girls to Laguna Beach for the first time. They saw the ocean for the first time, the California version of the ocean. And it was a great experience. And at one point, Heather said to me, she says, I've always wanted to live in Santa Monica. And I was like, well, we're going to California now. For like 2 years, year and a half, we started planning. We're going. And then about 4 months ago, when the virus hit, that's it. Yep. And then all the things that have happened afterwards since then with the virus and the homeless and this, that, and the other, it's like, I'm going to pass. My lifelong dream has turned into something I don't even want to visit.
Yeah.
So that's where I am on that. It's just, it's sad because this has been something I've thought about. I'm 54 this year, so for 40 years, it's been in the back of my mind. One day, I'll get to California. Now I want to avoid it like it is the plague.
Well, it kind of is.
Give it a few years. Prices will come down, I'm sure, because everybody in the tech market is all moving back east now.
Oh, yeah. That's what I was saying. The Joe Rogan podcast I was watching, he was saying that the hotspots are Las Vegas, Nevada in general, and Texas. Texas is the new hotspot. Everybody who's leaving California is moving to Texas because in California, for your $450,000 ranch house on less than a quarter acre, you take that to Waco, you got 5 acres and a 3,000 square foot house.
$450,000 for a ranch house here in California would be what, over in Bakersfield?
Yeah.
Or California City in the middle of freaking.
I was just gonna say, yeah, in West Covina, it'd be a ranch house with 1 bedroom and a half bath.
Yeah. Carmel by the Sea, a 1-bedroom cottage is $1.2 million.
Well, wait, we should bring up Grandma's old crib that you've seen.
Yeah.
That when I don't even remember what the number was.
It blew his mind when he went for what?
Over 2 million.
It was over two. It was like 2.4 or something, 2.3 or something like that.
Yeah, I'm not even kidding. And yeah, I'm
Really?
not kidding. I'm not kidding. I'll send you the link later. I'm not going to post it publicly.
So 3 stories. Bottom story was the garage and the entrance.
Yeah.
Second story was the kitchen and sitting room. Third story was the bedrooms
And the bathroom.
Yeah.
And then it had for a San Francisco property, it had a good size backyard. All things considered. Normally in San Francisco, it's like you just get this little thing. It was deep.
Good sized backyard is how big? 50 foot by something?
I don't even know.
It was what he's saying a big yard is not a big yard.
San Francisco standard big yard.
It's the width of the house and about 20 feet deep.
Yeah.
That's usually a good sized backyard. Yeah. You can lay 3 Jeffs down and get to the back fence. Yeah.
Okay, I'm not going to give all the details about it, but according to Zillow, they said it went for $2,620,000.
So 2.6.
Yeah, 2.6 thereabouts.
Almost $3 million after closing costs and everything else. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll text you the link, Jeff, so you can look at it and go, "Holy crap! Really, that was it."
And that was kind of butting up to
The peak of the market.
Twin Peaks, right?
No, it was right next to. It was right near Corona Heights Park. You were about 10 minutes walk from the Castro, aka Gayville. About 10 minutes from the Haight-Ashbury, aka Drugland.
You did not say that.
And about 10 minutes from Coal Valley, which is Classy Land, and about 5 minutes to the Beauce Triangle, which is also Classy Land. So, yeah.
You
Wow.
did not just call it that.
It's true.
You're wrong, man. It's just wrong.
I lived there long enough. I can call it what I want.
I just looked at the house on Zillow. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not kidding.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. I can see why it was almost $3 million. I mean,
It was nice, but now I can talk more openly about it because it's been a couple of years since it's sold. But let's just say it needed a little bit of TLC.
Did you ever leave that part of the video in where I was talking about the heating area, the heater?
I left everything in that video. I did not cut
Is that the one on your channel?
Cut out the asbestos part.
That's the reason why I kept that video private for so
I'm like,
long.
look, it's scratch and sniff.
Now, mind you, this was done before we had a couple of improvements made to it by state law. But yeah, I intentionally did not release that video for all time. I intentionally did not release that video.
Something about asbestos? I'm sorry. What?
Are you turning into Corey Chalmers from Hoarders? A slightly skinnier, non-tattooed version. Hi, I'm Corey Chalmers, and I run an extreme cleaning service, and today we're going to be cleaning out this asbestos-laden hoard.
But that's what's happening now. Is a lot of people are leaving California. They're coming here. We're having a housing boom right now. They opened up some new properties that used to be part of the Bureau of Land Management in Red Rock. You remember Red Rock, Jimmy? We took you on that. Well, they took a big chunk of that and sold it. So those are now turning into houses in the master plan community.
Oh no!
And then I know. And then in the south, it's been a housing explosion here. So a lot of it is California leaving big bags of money from the houses they have, and they can for what they pay for their house in California, they can almost get 2 houses here.
Yeah.
So, and then Texas is unbelievable. You can go on Zillow and take a look. Yeah, like Waco and these other little small towns. You get property. You can acre with your house. Now you may not get rolling mansion, but you're going to get more than you can afford.
Yeah, what happened is whenever the tech jobs, when they like Google, different ones like that, told their people, we don't want you coming back to work in the office for at least the next year.
Yep.
They said, does that mean we have to stay in California? They said, no, as long as you've got a decent internet connection and you come out for meetings or whatever, you can do whatever you want. They immediately put their for sale signs up on the windows and they were heading back east. We personally know somebody who was in the pharmaceutical end up there. And this happened before all this. When they gave him the option of working remotely, he said, I got one question. Do I have to be in California? And they said, nope.
And he's gone.
He went to Georgia.
Yeah.
And I mean, for a fraction of what he was doing here, he bought himself a place back there. The last county, he's building a house. I mean, he's really, oh my God. Could you imagine having California wages living back east?
Yeah. I mean, the money is good. The housing's good. I mean, and here, people who like that kind of LA lifestyle, they can get that 24/7 here. So if you want to come to a place where there's no last call, gambling is 24/7. There's entertainment. We actually have sports teams now. We have the freaking Raiders here now. So I mean,
so did you get your silver and black hat yet?
I would rather shave my face off than wear one of those hats.
I mean,
Raiders.
And we're out.
Now, one thing I will say, from the times that I did cut up to SF to go pick up my mail, because I still have my mailbox up there, I took 280 up because I figured I'm going to take the scenic route instead of 101. And 280, I forget if I had taken 280 or 101. I think I had actually taken 101. I was just like, I'll take the direct route. So 101 cuts me in by this giant U-Haul place over in the Bayshore that I used to get all the U-Hauls for grandmas at. Normally their U-Haul yard was just full of trucks. And I'm talking full of trucks. This time when I drove by and I looked over, there was nary 5 or 6 trucks in the lot. I couldn't believe it, how few trucks were in there. And
there's a thing. They're talking about it. They're having to charge double for people who are leaving the state because they're taking their trucks and they're not returning them.
yeah.
So that's the thing with U-Haul. It's like a ride share program between all these different U-Hauls all over the country. So if you don't come back, or people don't move back to that city, well, then you got a whole bunch of U-Hauls gone. And then that's what you're seeing. You're seeing the results of that. That's like a proven fact. And that's like the quantification of the issue. There's no U-Hauls left at the California U-Haul dealer because all the people who moved out, an equal amount of people didn't move back into that same area.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you magnify that by the entire state, just imagine.
I mean, I'll be honest.
To rent a U-Haul truck to leave the state because they know they're never going to see it again.
Well, to give you an idea of what the prices were about 3 years ago, to rent a 15-foot truck with insurance, which was worth the money because if anything happened to the truck, like I joked with them, I'm like, I can drive this thing off a cliff and I'm covered. And I'm like, yeah, I'm like, good. I'm spending the money. It's worth like the $125 because I'm like, I know how the people are out here. I don't want to have to deal with it through my personal insurance, yada, yada, yada. But the thing was, I think it was like about $350-ish. I think it was about $425, $450 by the time you factored in the gas to get the truck from San Francisco to outside of LA. At the end of the day, that included moving pads and maybe a couple of other things. But it was like, it wasn't cheap, but it was still cheaper than mover. So I can only imagine how much they're charging now. I mean, if we didn't have the pandemic and I didn't have my job, I'd be going down there going, hi, can you hire me and fly me out to where these trucks are at and I'll drive them back? Like there's like Nolan said, gigs probably opening up to do transport returns. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there's literally a booming economy of single people who are like, well, I'm not in contact with anybody. I can just, go there and bring it back and go there. It's like,
well, I've seen those before. Years ago, you'd see them all the time on the highway. They'd be a bunch of U-Hauls piggybacked onto each other going to cities, and then they would put the truck, the back part on locally. Well, they're not even making new U-Haul. I mean, Ford's like, yeah, we're done with this. So the only thing you're getting is because it's turned in, and we rented a truck here. I think it was less than $100 just to go 2 miles for one day. Yeah. I don't mind running a bigger truck than we need because I'd rather have a bigger truck and I can drive them. But by changing one parameter by saying it's leaving the state or staying here. So it was under $100 for a whole 24 hours for the truck. And I didn't do the insurance because I wasn't leaving the state and I was only driving 2 miles.
Yeah.
But if I changed that to 90210 as a random, because it's the only zip code I know, it was $700. It was like $700 to drive it to LA.
That is insane. Because I know that we rented a 20-foot through one of our relatives who had some furniture that he wanted to move down to his daughter's storage unit outside of Hollywood. And yeah, even that big truck with insurance, not including gas, well, that's the fun truck that my mom got to meet you on. That's another story altogether I'm not going to get into. But it's like, it was like, even with the 20-foot truck from hell, that thing I don't think came out to more than like $400 to rent it. And when you consider how much it cost my mom to get movers to bring a piano and a couple of other things down, and that didn't take anywhere near as long, and that took way longer than us with the truck, even though we got delayed. It was just kind of like, what it was. Yeah, it's crazy though when the Bayshore U-Haul, and you can look it up, it's an old peanut packing plant that was out there that got converted. The inside is now all storage units, and they had like a little front office area, and then they literally had this gigantic parking lot full of trucks and trailers and pickups, and like there were more vehicles out there than you could shake a tire inflation.
Well, it was a distribution. It's a distribution hub, isn't it?
Yeah,
it probably was.
Yeah.
And
it depends on how the system is set up, but U-Haul's a ride share program basically.
Yeah.
They're not making any more new trucks. If they do bring new trucks in, it's going to be rare because they literally have tens of thousands of U-Haul trucks countrywide. They don't need to make any more because people like to move from state to state. But that ended. That literally just ended in the last couple of months. The only thing you're seeing is people moving these trucks from one state to another, but not taking them back. Yeah. So people are coming here, people are going to Texas, or Atlanta's a really good spot. That one's super hot. I know Chicago, even though people talk about the crime problem there, but it's only in one area of Chicago. It's called the South Side, where I grew up. And that's it. You can live in the suburbs, you can live in the north side, you can live on the west side, you can live anywhere else you want in Chicago, and you literally could leave your front door unlocked, because we did. So that's another place people are making an exodus to, because it's affordable housing. They got decent paying jobs. As long as you don't mind the sub-zero weather in the wintertime, it's really not that bad of a place.
Yeah.
But,
and they got the best pizza in the world.
The best damn pizza in the world. The only place where you can have Italian food, liquor, and cigarettes delivered to your house at 1 a.m. from Leona's. And they're, I believe, on Western Avenue. So not that I remember any of that stuff super clearly at all. So.
At this point,
I think with the world we're living in now, things are changing. I mean, you're seeing small businesses who were struggling before have closed.
Yeah,
we're seeing the effect of the protests on the cities and how much weight that really has on small businesses and on how the police force act now. I mean, there's so many things that are changing right now. And then that seriously disturbing debate last night. I wasn't going to bring it up. I was not going to bring it up. I'm just.
My wife, Beth, told me, she said, whatever you do, don't talk about politics. Don't talk about politics. So I won't unless somebody brings it up.
Okay. Well, I'm going to pass the subject then. I'm going to go over that. But
I'll touch on it a little bit. I get off work at about 12. I think I left the store at like 12:20 last night or in the morning. I get home. First thing I do is take my clothes off. I get in bed. I turn on YouTube, get switched over to the TV so I can watch C-SPAN on YouTube, right? Because I'm like, how am I going to watch this? And she's like, what are you doing? I says, I got to watch this debate. She says, no, you don't. I said,
no, you don't.
She says, I don't need to. I can tell you right now, I saw everything on Facebook. It's bad. I said, well, I haven't looked at Facebook. I want to see it for myself. And so many people were watching it. That was in a
oh my gosh.
And they go like for like 10 seconds and pause. 10 seconds and pause. I would pause it. I do everything I could not get the things. All I could figure is they were such a drain on YouTube's bandwidth. That video was just, I finished watching it at 3:33 in the morning. All I could dream about was Biden. You don't want to plant that tree over there. And I'm like, what kind of a stupid dream? Have you ever been a dream where it's like, why am I dreaming this? It's such a stupid dream. And I'm like, I woke up at 8 o'clock this morning. I got less than far asleep because I think if I went to sleep sometime after 4 a.m. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm not even going to try going back to sleep. I've had stupid dreams all night long because of that stupid debate.
I mean,
we were watching it live, and it was really hard to watch. It really was, and I don't have any interest in politics. When I speak my mind about politics on Twitter, I become the pariah of the entire community. Whatever, but
I'm one of those guys. I'm still middle of the road.
Go into it.
Middle of the road. It's like you can go either way. I'm looking at both these dumpster fires, and I'm like, who's running a libertarian this year?
I mean, I had a simple solution to it all. I was doing hangouts with Danielle for cover photos for her videos that we hadn't done, and I had a friend message me some stuff I'm not going to talk about on here, and I'm just like, good, I avoided it all. Awesome.
Theresa's got it right. She's got it right.
Yeah,
we are.
I saw everything I needed to see from my conservative, moderate, and liberal friends, and I'm like, I'm not even going to watch it. I'm sorry.
Well, what I thought was funny, my takeaway from all of it wasn't during the debate. It was today.
Yeah.
With your comedians and your pundits and your political advisors and your fact checkers, and it was like the biggest dumpster fire ever, and now everybody is combing through it with fine-tooth comb to see what we can at least salvage from this. I mean, I know that the vice presidential debate is not going to be anything like this at all, but there's 2 more presidential debates on the docket. I don't think they're going to do both of them. I think they're only going to do one. I think they said last night that there's 2 more debates left. One's vice president, the other one will be presidential. But the only way you're going to get this to work is the same way they do it, the same way they used to do it. Shut the mic off.
Yeah, that's what they were talking about a little bit ago on the news.
Shut the
They
mic
said
off.
that for the next debate, they are planning on killing the mic on the person who's not supposed to be speaking.
Yep.
It's the only way.
You know,
I can just see him going over there saying, "You're wrong."
well, if you look at the previous presidential debate and how it was done in format, they had one microphone.
Yeah.
Him and Hillary had one microphone to share. When they were done speaking, they would set the microphone down on a podium, and they were forced to stand up, and be more active than behind the Walker podiums that these two were gripping last night. That format worked really well because it gave them an opportunity to walk away from the other person, or as Hillary did, get right in his face and say what she had to say, and then reach over and drop the mic. So that worked. They should go back to that, or just shut the damn mic off, man. Just either of them. It doesn't matter. Just whoever's turn it is, just shut the mic off. And also, I think they need to get like John Wick as the moderator, because they need somebody who's got some cojones to just like yell at these guys. Hey, shut up! It's not your turn.
Somebody with a rubber chicken is what they need, so they can slap both the clowns around.
They need Samuel L. Jackson. That's like
Back in the 80s. Back in the 80s, you could buy a foam brick that you could throw at your television. Remember that?
Yeah.
That's what the moderator needs. He needs a big stack of foam bricks. Chuck them at him. Hey,
Stupid.
or
Your time's up.
they need to get like someone's grandmother with a big stack of shoes to just.
As a shot.
So that's all I'm going to say about that. It was fun to watch all the stuff today. It was fun to read a lot of things. The fact checking was interesting. There was a little bit on both sides. One guy was right, one guy was wrong, and then it would flip the other way. And I know Joe's he's got a stuttering issue. I dealt with that my part of my life as well. And when you get flustered or charged, you start to stutter. So it made him seem like he was slightly incompetent. And then, but it's not what it is. And then, Donald doesn't like to be talked over. So when he gets talked over, he talks over you. There's something that I don't know if it was Seth Meyer or maybe it was Philip DeFranco brought up that what Donald was doing was actually a tactic by constantly talking over him and doing his actions and making false accusations. It kept Joe on his heels. Also kept the moderator on his heels. And us as an audience, we were so confused. There was no way to isolate one person's microphone and be like, oh, okay, I hear what you're saying. So there was a lot of it was a typical mudsling, which is pretty interesting considering that back in the day, they actually would throw mud at each other. So this was kind of fun to watch. But at the same time, it was sad because, democracy should be working a little bit better than that. And people should follow the rules, man. I mean, that's all they had to do. I mean, Nick Gunn got through 90 minutes, discuss some really good issues, convince their constituents who to vote for. But instead, like you're saying, it's like some people are like, I don't know if I want to vote for either of these guys now.
Yeah.
Which is scary because, I mean, it's already going to be a weird election with the mail-in votes. If they don't turn this around in the next debate and convince their constituents on an individual basis why they should vote for you, it's going to be a shit show. There was people saying that on CNN. It was a shit show.
Yeah,
so
that's what everything I was reading and seeing today that's what they said. And I'll tell you another thing. Wouldn't it be ironic if the first woman president comes from a third party?
At this point,
wouldn't that be ironic?
That would be interesting.
Surprise me.
Well, you think Hillary will run?
No, there's actually the libertarian. There's a woman running for president.
Why isn't she getting debate stage time?
That's what I've heard a few people say today. They're like, how come I forget what her name is. It starts with a J.
I don't know.
I've never heard of it. A libertarian presidential candidate?
Jimmy's going to look it
I
up.
believe so. Let me look it up here.
Remember when I think it was the Clinton debates where they had like 8 people up there They had like 3 questions because like literally everybody got a chance to be in the debate. And as time has gone by, it's whittled down to just presidential and vice presidential candidates that are nominated by the parties.
Yeah.
Because like the independent party had that crazy millionaire dude, remember?
Yeah, Ross Perot.
Ross Perot, yes.
Jorgensen.
Yeah.
She is the one that's running.
Never heard of her.
Joe 20.
Well, that's the problem. We've never heard of her, so
That's how sad everything has become, that we don't know this until today, because it's like, okay, who else is running again? Wait a minute.
You had to look it up because her name wasn't on the tip of your tongue or anything. You had to look it up because we're so blinded with coronavirus and the protesting and the takeovers and the economy and the 2 candidates we have available to us, everything else. And that, throw in a Supreme Court justice that has to be nominated during all this, which is just ridiculous that they're even going to think about doing that during an election.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like voting in a new pope. That's not something you just do. You got to have like tons of people. There's smoke that has to be burned. It's a whole process. It's a whole process.
Our options that were given to us this year was fish or beef.
but there's no.
Do you want
option.
fish sticks or do you want a hamburger?
And mind you, this is for a vegetarian friend.
But nobody ever said that there was another option
Like the bean burger.
that we could have a ham sandwich.
Yeah.
Nobody's told us that. But there's a ham
pizza. There's pizza. Nobody said there was pizza. Where's the pizza?
Yeah, where's the pizza?
That's the state of the election now, like when Hillary and Trump were at it, they were so hyper-focused. We had the same issue. We didn't know if there were other candidates. But then if you go back to the Bill Clinton era, where there was like I said, there was like half a dozen people on the debate stage. I mean, you had everybody up there. They were all given an opportunity to convince people and convince their party who should be the nominee. Now it's not like they don't even do that anymore. They don't even have that like nominee party debate. They have the national convention, which this year was what?
Yeah.
Both the Democratic and the Republican national conventions were basically virtual. The only one that actually invited people was Donald Trump, and he denies that they were ever in a building. He said they were all outside.
We were social distancing.
We're here in
We
Vegas.
were all wearing our masks. It was a beautiful thing.
Well, I know in the past they held a debate over at the Reagan Library, which is like, okay, it's not just down the street, but it's very close to where my parents are at. And that was when they've held debates there. It's interesting because they'll literally reroute people all the way around it. It's crazy.
It is.
Absolutely crazy.
But with all this going on and everything else, there's hope, because whoever gets in the office is going to have the challenge of pleasing the people. Because if not, you're out. There's going to be an impeachment. It doesn't matter who wins. It really doesn't. If you don't do the job, these people, I mean, when's the last time the popular vote actually voted in a president, for one? And if it happens that way with the popular vote, not the electoral college, then this could be a completely new America in 6 to 8 months. I mean, there is a possibility that within the next year we have a vaccine for the coronavirus. It's not coming soon. It'll be a year. There is a possibility that the economy will fix itself. I mean, there has been a rise. I mean, their home sales are up here in Las Vegas, and there are some new jobs popping up on the job boards that I've never seen before. Not for me, but for a widespread amount of people. And I see things changing, and I don't think that has anything to do with our president. I just think that has to do with individual governors who are given the task of managing their own state for the first time.
Right.
When it comes to, when you when you run into something like a pandemic, this is an opportunity for politicians and big business to shine. They need to, kick it in. And in Vegas, and I think we had this conversation once before, when the pandemic started, we had big business and private sector jump right in for us. They loaded up all the hospitals with PPE. I was pregnant. I couldn't give it away. I had to send it out of state. They didn't want it.
Yeah.
Because they had their own. They were good. They even had a giant field MASH unit set up in the parking lot at the Thomas and Mack Center, and they barely even used it.
Yeah.
They barely used it because we were doing quite well. but we still had to abide by the rules, which meant shutting down businesses, taking kids to remote or distance learning. People like me who could work from home were told, you go work from home now, and this is my permanent life. And if you were essential, the few that are essential, like my wife, who works in a convenience store, manages a convenience store, you had to be out there every day in it. And if it was super, super bad here, I think I would have already gotten it. So I'm kind of glad we're here, because some of the other places I'm reading about, no thank you. They're like Florida. I know some YouTubers in Florida. I'm like hoping they don't leave their homes. Really, I mean, seriously, because what is it? Josh, Alien 3D. He's down there in Florida, I believe. And Country Guy, he's down there in Florida. So, I mean, there's some people down there that are in it. They're in the worst part of it. And if you look at how they're getting along and how those people are doing, it gives hope. There's hope that this will all end quietly and it won't be political. We'll all get a little vaccination in 6 to 8 months, and everybody will go back to doing what they were doing. All those businesses that suffered will maybe get a chance to rebuild. Maybe there'll be some way that we can help them. But it's not going to be today. It's not going to be tomorrow. It's going to be when this is over. It has to end for the beginning. You know what I mean? You can't start anew until the other one ends.
Right.
So, and that's what I'm waiting for. I'm hopeful that what we're going to see after all this is over is a really great economy, a healthier nation that's more conscientious of what we're doing. We're not picking our nose and wiping on handrails anymore. We're not letting our kids put their hands in their mouths and touching everything. You start to realize, like, I just scratched my face, but I haven't left my house in over a week, so I know I'm okay scratching my own face. And I wash my hands religiously, and I use a lot of hand sanitizer. But I take those practices out into the real world, and I see other people doing the same thing I'm doing. And I think it's for the same reasons, is they don't want to get sick. They want to stay healthy. And I hope that sticks around for a lifetime with us. I hope like a year from now or 2 years from now, I'm still seeing people being respectful to other people in a crowded situation wearing a mask. I don't have a problem with it. I get sweaty as hell wearing those things. Of course, I haven't shaved in weeks, so that doesn't help either.
That's the one thing about wearing the mask is you find yourself not shaving it as much.
Actually,
I noticed the other day when I had it on, the little hairs were sticking through, and I looked in the mirror and it was a black mask, and I could see the little fuzzy grays sticking. I was like, well, I think it might be time to shave. But I don't mind wearing the mask. In fact, I've got a couple different ones, and I wanted to get one of yours, and I wanted to get some from some of my favorite bands, and I've seen some good ones that says 6 feet, Karen. That one.
Yeah. I saw some that are like COVID.
I mean, I would put 2 toxic symbols, like right here, red mask, black symbol, just 2 toxic symbols, like nuclear waste on either side or something.
Gosh.
But I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I think it's a little weird, and I get sweaty and I'm uncomfortable. But I think those are personal sacrifices that everybody should be able to make to stay healthy and not die.
Right.
One of the commentary I read today is like, I'm sure there's somebody out there that that had a relative or a friend die from coronavirus, from COVID-19. And if you were given the opportunity 6 months ago to wear a mask, stay away from people, and do that, that person could be alive today. And that's scary to think that this little cloth mask could have saved so many lives, and there's nothing wrong with wearing it. I mean, did you guys read about the post office, how they were going to send out 5 masks to every person in the United States?
No.
There's you can Google this crap. I guess the post office right at the beginning of the pandemic said that they were going to send out masks to every citizen just to help out, do their part. And you can imagine who knocked that out of the air.
I'd just be happy if they delivered my mail every day.
Oh, gee, really?
Yeah, I know.
Speaking of, let me check out
We've been waiting on a check for about 3 weeks now. So, and I got some parts coming from Poland, which I probably won't see till December, and I ordered them in August. So
here on the route that I'm on, that where we're at, we are lucky if we see a post truck come by once every 3 days.
Really?
So about every 3 days, they'll just put a bunch of mail in your mailbox, and that's it. And then you don't see them for a few days.
That's
They were
weird.
supposed to deliver my running boards for my pickup on Sunday, and they said that they attempted delivery, but the driveway was blocked. The driveway wasn't blocked. My wife was home,
Somebody would have seen it.
right. In fact, our neighbor said, I actually saw the post office truck drive by slow and then continue on the road. Didn't even pull in the driveway. So I thought, okay, well, Monday they'll deliver it. No. Tuesday they'll deliver it. No. Okay, so I call them up today. They said, oh, it's at the post office. It weighs 44 pounds, so that they probably can't deliver it to your house. You probably need to go pick it up. Okay, go to the post office. Say, hey, I'm here to pick up a package. It should be here. You guys tried delivering it on Sunday, according to what you guys said, but I'm here to pick up my package. Oh, it's not here. What do you mean it's not here? Where is it? It might be out for delivery. Can you check? Well, it doesn't show it's out for delivery. I'm like, so where's my package? Well, we can't find it. I'm like, okay, well, it's 5 feet long and apparently weighs 44 pounds. How did you lose it? So I contact Amazon. Amazon, they contact their people at the post office, and they all came to the same conclusion. We don't know what happened to it.
I think somebody stole
So
it.
here's your money. Order it again. I'm like, what if it shows up? If
Then
it
you have
shows
to.
up, you can go ahead and send it back to us. But at this point, we don't think it's going to show up, honestly.
No. You keep it.
Yeah.
It's now officially yours. So
I mean,
Yeah.
if it's anything critical, I just get it sent up to work because once a day, doesn't say very much, but I give him a friendly wave. The little mail guy comes by around 4 and changes out the little Coroplast boxes, and around noon, the mail lady drops her mail off. Every single day. It's a miracle of modern technology, but then again, it's a business address, so it makes sense.
yeah, well,
It's
I mean,
like it's anything critical, it gets sent there.
I'm getting packages from other states. They're coming just as quick as they normally have. The mail service, he comes every day to our post office box. It's just so weird that some states were like postally funded, and then they're like, yeah, we're not doing nothing. Let's go take our boxes and go home. It's just so weird. It's like, why would that happen? And then I saw that letter that the post office was actually a press release saying that they were sending masks out to everybody in America, and this was back in like February, March. And then I'm like, oh, that's why they got defunded, and that's why they're falling apart, because they wanted to help during a pandemic.
Right.
So
It's funny how the swamp just seems like it never quite got drained.
Or it's deeper than we thought, or it got bigger. I don't know at this point. I give up. I give up. I mean, I am waiting on some rolls of solder from Wish.com to get delivered to my parents' house. At this point, I just don't think they're going to show up. Or 3 years from now, this random package with lettering is going to show up and I'm going to be like, oh, hey, surprise.
because that's probably about how long it takes Wish to actually deliver the products that you buy from them, because they're like a conglomerate. They're like, I would never order anything from Wish.com.
The last order I did on Wish.com took 4 months for it to arrive.
I actually got it within about a month and a half for some items that I ordered at the beginning of the pandemic.
It must have been somebody that had an office in America.
No, it actually came from China.
Really?
Really.
Wow.
I caught it at the right time, though. But yeah, it's like if you're buying it from Wish, you know that you're getting it cheap because it's going to take for flipping ever to come.
Yeah, and it's probably not really the bona fide product. I mean, there's YouTube videos out there of like guys who bought a whole bunch of crap from Wish.com, and you can see the unboxing. It's like half the quality of the picture, or it's just not even close to the same quality of what's in the picture. So
The Mavic Mini clone that I ordered.
Yeah.
Well, it's like the solder that I ordered. I didn't get it because I want to solder things. I got it because I want it for the weight. I can wrap it around the axles on my train models to give it weight. So I don't care if it's the world's most garbage solder. I just need it for the weight. At $3 a roll, if it takes 3 months, fine, whatever. I don't care. It's more or less I have it, so I've got that because I don't want to use good solder for weight. Model. That's stupid. So It's more or less I have it, so I've got that. Because I want to use good solder for feedback.
Where's that feeding back from?
Probably yes.
Is that you, Jeff?
I think it is. Hang on. Yep, that's me.
Okay.
I'm like, why am I hearing my awful voice? No.
And his mannerisms.
Out of my eyes.
For a moment there, I
Guys.
couldn't figure out what I was doing. So it was a moment there.
Commercial. Oh, please, no. No. With Man Bun Dude. Oh, please don't. That brings up traumatic memories of the Sign Lounge. We're not going there.
I'm just kind of, I got a chance. Heather went to take a siesta because she has to get up real early in the morning. And I just opened up the chat and I'm like, oh, wow, all these people are saying hi to me. And I was just kind of like oblivious to everything. But so hi, everybody. Sorry. Like, I'm reading over and I'm like, oh my gosh, all these people are talking. And I'm just totally ignored everybody.
So let's address the elephant in the room. So I was setting up the stream. I thought it was going to that stream, but it went to its own stream, and I didn't have the right title in there. When did the ransom makes happen? Because you've always been Print 3D channel. That's how I've known you. It's like, it's Jeff from Print 3D channel.
Hi, Jeff from the Print 3D
and then
channel.
all of a sudden I'm like, when did you change your name?
And I got this barrage of text messages as I'm driving home. I'm just like, oh dear.
I'm like, I know I've been a little bit busy at work lately, you know, because, 12 hours a day typically on average.
Yeah.
I come home pretty much crashed.
Yeah. All right, I guess it's story time. So
Oh,
Story
boy.
time.
Story time with Jeff.
Okay.
Story time. You watch TikTok?
Once upon a time, there was a guy named Jeff, and he was struggling. The easiest thing for me to say is this, that I felt YouTube burnout, creator burnout, maker burnout, whatever you want to call it. And I had, what the hell? Back when I did the lightsaber project, I had a little breakdown on Twitter on how my internet didn't work and it was going to ruin the video because it had to be out on May the 4th be with you because it was a Star Wars theme thing, and I didn't get it out to the following day because Cox's internet was down, and I was crying like a little bitch on the internet about it. And I think a lot of people were put off by my serious online like snap. I was like, I'm going to quit YouTube. I hate this crap. I'm done with it, blah, blah, blah. And lo and behold, I got the video out the next day, and somebody was like, well, it's, Revenge of the Fifth, like Revenge of the Sith. So it's cool. It's still canon. You're okay. So I was like, okay, no big deal. And then I started being like completely honest about what I was seeing on Twitter and sharing my opinions of stuff, my own personal stuff, having nothing to do with 3D printing or the maker community. And I started losing followers, and people were like not paying any attention. And then I went through about 2 weeks through tweets, and not one person liked it, whether it was 3D printing or movie stuff or anything. Even people I had tagged in photos weren't liking anything. So I was like, okay, maybe my time is done here. Maybe it's time for me to step aside and let people who don't do what I do, like wear my feelings on my shirt, a heart sleeve type of thing, and let someone else take the reins of all this, and I can just, walk away. I mean, like literally walk away, like stop printing, stop modeling, stop doing everything. So for that, on that day, I actually deleted my Twitter handle, Twitter channel, everything. And then like a couple hours later, I was like, what have I done? Because I'm a social media addict. So I gave it a little bit of time. I made the change to Ransom Makes, and I'll tell you what that's about in a minute. And then I just stepped aside. I deleted Twitter off my phone. I deleted Twitter off my iPad. I deleted all like anything having to do with the community. I was like, I'm just going to walk away because I really don't feel welcome anymore. It made me depressed. Honestly, I think I cried a little bit one night for like an hour trying to fall asleep, thinking that all my social media friends had just walked away because they didn't share the same opinion as me, or didn't like my opinion, for whatever reason. And I just stepped away. Like I said, I deleted it from all my devices. The only way I could access Twitter was through this computer right here in front of me. And I actually deleted it off of this, and I only put Twitter on another computer that I only use as a secondary computer for work. It's my play computer. When I'm not doing something for work, I'm on this doing something. So I had it there. I could launch Twitter every once in a while on a separate tab and see what was going on. But I resisted making comments. I resisted doing anything on social media for a good couple of weeks. I felt good about it, to the point where on one weekend, I didn't even think about social media. I didn't think about it at all. And then on Monday, I was like, wow, I wonder what happened on Twitter. So I went and looked, and there was all this stuff, and I was like, wow, this is cool. But I didn't have an opinion. I didn't have anything I wanted to say, so I just kept walking away. So over the last week, or last 2 weeks, I've slowly kind of put myself back into the kind of like, I really want to do creative stuff again. Maybe it's 3D printing with something. You know what I mean? Like, why does it have to just be, I print the popular model and the popular filament and try to make the popular impression by tagging the popular people, so I feel better about myself because the popular people now like my stuff. I was done with that. I'm not here to just kind of walk along as the Print 3D channel anymore. I kind of want to break out into my own place. And for that, the only way I could do that was to just stop everything. I almost canceled my MakerBox subscription, but they're so nice to me and they like my stuff. And they were like, you know, we're always here for you, the guys at Printed Solid. And so I was like, okay, well, just keep sending them to me then. I won't. And I'm actually got one in work finally for the first time. And as you can see, I printed a few things, which I haven't done in a long time, and I'm showing them off. And it feels good again. But at the same time, I'm very apprehensive. I'm very nervous. I get depressed really easy about stuff like, you know, I'm trying to share, you know, my likes about stuff on Twitter with people who I say are my friends, and they don't seem interested. So it's like, okay, well, I guess it's a matter of like, if I'm not going to be doing 3D printing stuff, then I should just be quiet. Yeah. So that's what I've gotten to that point where I share stuff that I know other people will like who aren't in the community with those people. And my 3D printing stuff, I share with the people in the community because I know they like that. And now I've learned that there's a space for where I fit between 3D printing and my likes and dislikes, where I can be on social media and enjoy myself. So I started with Instagram. I did some stories. I did a post, and I got some praise, and I felt good about myself again. So I'm going to try it again. We're going to go at it again. We're going to start the channel back up again. It's going to be called Ransom Makes. And it's not going to be, I'm going to say this right here publicly, I don't want any more printers sent to my house. Yeah. I don't care who you are. I don't want any more printers sent to my house. No, thank you. I had enough problems with the ones I tried to work with. This G-Max right here is the best dang printer ever, and I will always print on this. This is my printer. I will always print on it. That's the one I'm going to use. And that little Mars right next to it, he's going to be my resin printer. I don't want any more printers. I don't want resin and materials and stuff. Sure, you can send that my way because those are consumables. But I don't have the room to set up. This new shop here is part office, part Jeff, and part 3D printing. It's not the garage. It is still really nice. It's indoors, so I'm not, you know, dying of heat in the summer. And I have my work stuff over here. And work from home is 8 hours a day. And during that 8 hours, I shouldn't be on social media. I shouldn't be doing 3D printing stuff. I shouldn't be doing any of that stuff. I should be focused on work because that's my job. So now, as I've slowly ebbed back into it, I have to figure out that dividing line between this side of the room, which is work, and this side of the room, which is fun. So if I want to be in this side of the room where the fun is, I have to make sure that I'm done with the work first. So that's usually like 5, 6 o'clock. I'll start coming over here and fiddling about. Or before work, because I get up early with the kids, so I get 2 hours in the morning. I may start a print that I don't have to sit and watch. You know, like this monstrosity here, this big
Now we're talking.
giant. Look at this thing. It's like,
Look at that.
Dude, I think I've seen that on Twitter. I think I've seen the model of that. That thing looks incredible on camera.
it does. It does, and it's the biggest. It's as big as I can go. It's 420 millimeters. 420.
Are you gonna throw a full of guys and blunts and shattered?
So about Ransom Makes. Ransom is my middle name. It's a family name that's been carried on through generation and generation and generation from as far back as I can remember. Whether you're male or female, it didn't matter. There was always going to be somebody in the Wright family who had Ransom as a middle name. I've only had one son. His name is Joshua Ransom Wright, JRW. Mine is Jeffrey Ransom Wright, JRW. My dad's brother is Jack Ransom Wright, JRW. She had a twin. He had a twin. Her name is Joan, and they did it to her too. So she's Joan Ransom Wright. So it goes back. I mean, it goes back far. So for me, that's kind of who I am. You know, I'm not Prince or Madonna or anything like that. It's just that this felt more Jeff than the Print 3D channel. The Print 3D channel was for my brother, Tony. Yeah. When he passed away, I got the G Create. I met all you guys, went to my first Maker Faire. I'll never forget that was like the most awesome thing ever. I got to meet everybody that I ever wanted to meet, and it was so cool. I mean, I even met Grant, who passed away recently from testing. I got to talk to him for a few minutes. I mean, everyone I've ever wanted to meet. So it's a fulfilling thing to be who I am, because when I was at Maker Faire, I felt more comfortable being who I was around you guys. Yeah. My channel, I feel like I'm in the Hall of Presidents in Disney sometimes when I'm standing there talking like, hey, everybody, welcome back to the Print 3. So I decided I'm done with that. I'm just going to do whatever I want.
Just going to go.
I know that feeling. I've been there. I get it. I can sympathize with it as well.
So it's, Ransom Makes is more me. It feels like it feels more genuine to me. It feels like this is what I should have done from the beginning. And I don't really want to be the guy who reviews printers. That seemed to be where I was going because, honestly, I can't afford any of these things. So for me, when you have a wife and 3 kids and a mortgage and cars and all that, or not a mortgage, rent and cars, and I have medicine that I have to buy every month, or, I have some issues. So they have to be taken care of. So I can't afford any of this stuff. I can't afford to go out and buy a $300 printer. That Mars was like a miracle. I think it was a tax return money that actually, so I could pay for a $287 printer. So I can't afford any of this stuff. This is a hobby that's out of my wheelhouse as far as funds go. So that was the whole thing. It was like, if I get into the whole reviewing and testing mode at the Print 3D channel, people will send me review units and I can give their honest opinion. And then I found out you get to keep those. So I was like, oh, cool. Then I can use them and help advertise their company. And at the same time, I can't afford this stuff anyway. So awesome. It's a win-win situation. The advertising money, and I get a cool printer at the end. And, I felt good about it. But I went back and watched some of my videos of these reviews, and I look like a car salesman.
Yeah.
I didn't feel genuine at all. And it wasn't that I was lying about the products, because I wasn't. I was being genuine about it. I do love every bit of it. Even if I have problems, I still love it. I love troubleshooting. So I am. I work on a Mac.
We won't hold that against you.
You better not.
She's over here like, and how to kill Just Mac in 3, 2, boom.
It's an apple. It will die.
It will get rotten. I know that much.
Well, I look at it this way. I'm streaming perfectly. I have my 3D program open in the background. I have 2 windows open. One is doing the chat and the live streaming, and I can see the health is 100%. This computer is from 2010.
Yeah.
So this Mac that I have is from 2010. It's an ass kicker. It's a very dependable machine. Once it gets started, because it takes about 20 minutes to actually get completely started up to the desktop, because you have Adobe Creative Cloud, you have Dropbox, you have all these things that have to sync, and on a really slow computer, that takes a while. So when all that's said and done, then I have an ass kicking machine. But yeah, this again, going off topic as I always do.
That's all right.
That's the whole reason why I do this.
The ransom makes thing feels better to me. So I'm not going to delete all those Print 3D channel videos. I think those will stand as it's kind of like a reminder of what I did wrong and what I did right. The 365 project was awesome. It was a fun time. You guys enjoyed it. Everybody enjoyed it. I've even had people comment to me on Instagram, I miss your 365 project. And I was like, you have no idea how hard that was.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That wasn't like an easy thing to do. And I sacrificed a lot for that. I mean, a lot. I was in the hospital. I had oral surgery. And we would not go anywhere on the weekends for a whole year so we could do the 3D printing every day. So I proved what I could do. I proved that I love this stuff. I proved I can print just about anything and any materials. I made a few objects. I mean, I don't do, sculpts like Chaos Cortec and all these other people. I make parts and stuff, parts and stuff. Oh, here's something I could talk about. I'm sure you can identify it by just this part, what I'm building here. So now what I want to do is I want to prove to myself all the things that I couldn't do on the Print 3D channel because I was so swamped with reviews and so swamped with trying to be the popular printing model dude. And, because I had the G-Max, I was like, hey, that new Wexter model of Spider-Man looks cool. I'm going to print it as big as humanly possible. And I never did because it was like, okay, why? I mean, I can just print it normal size and still get the same gratification. So now I'm at that. I'm at that point where I'm like, okay, this is more me. I've got this cool desk setup. Heather bought me that awesome airbrush set, but I'm definitely going to use the heck out of that. And I decided I want to challenge myself as a maker instead of just.
See, ask him if that's the same one.
The Harbor Freight? Is it the Harbor Freight?
That one?
Yep.
I still need to open it up.
Well, let's do it now.
No. How do you like it?
I haven't turned it on yet.
Oh, no! We're in the same boat.
I need something to paint. I have something I could start painting, but there's a few other things I need to do on my desk here, some stuff I need to print, which leads me to the next part of the Ransom Makes thing. Like before, I would do these lengthy videos that would take weeks to produce of all these things I made or printed or stuff like that. And it took so much time, it took the joy out of the 3D printing part. So that's part of what I want to do now is like, I'm in no hurry to get content out right now. None at all. When it comes, it comes. I've been watching, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Bobby Duke Arts on YouTube. Been watching a lot of his stuff. He's very inspirational to me because he is just whoever he is. He gets to be himself and not give a damn what anybody says about him. And just watching him inspired me to get back into this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to challenge myself to build stuff that before I would never even try. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to build my own resin printer.
That's cool.
So it's not my design. It's a private model off of Thingiverse. And I just started printing all the parts for it. This is obviously the top where this is that, what do you call it? Form Futura Galaxy. So it's got the glitter in it and stuff. So, and I got that nice smooth glass top. And what else we got over here? We've got the UV light. The UV light goes in here. We've got, got our multi-piece vat. So you have tightener. This holds the FEP sheets. I've got my tray with cooling area for the UV light. So when I can put on the cooling fins, it slides together. This goes together and they go right inside there. And all the stuff for the arm, for the print head and stuff. I mean, I've got everything here except for the base. So the other part of this I need to print because the one I printed out of a brand of filament who I'm not going to mention's carbon fiber PLA. It fell apart. So that filament wasn't nearly as strong as advertised.
How the mighty have fallen.
So yeah, that's where I am. I'm doing my own thing now. I'm not trying to impress anybody. I'm not doing it for views or likes or anything else on YouTube. I'm just doing what I want. So my first video, whenever that comes out, is going to be something I wanted to do. You know, I really want to do more resin printing. I've got some cool kits. I've got this, which is, you can see that. It's a UV pigment.
Wow.
So you get all the colors, CMYK plus white. So I'll be able to mix up whatever color I want, you know, so I don't have to buy a bunch of different colored resins. I have this kit. I just have to, I have the base too, somewhere in here. There's a base resin that you add it to, and then you do your coloring, mix it up and stuff like that. And the company that sent it to me, which is 3D Resin Solutions, really nice guys over there. Craig, he sent me a bunch of little bottles too, so I can start, you know, I can mix the color and not just pitch it. I can put the remainder in here, and he gave me a shit ton of those to work with. So, and I've got isopropyl alcohol.
That's why I can't find it at the store. Thanks, Jeff.
Isopropyl alcohol.
Yeah, you know what? I got one up on you.
I'd like to see if anyone gets some gallons. Oh,
you're pulling out the stash.
Hey, I got the denatured stuff. I don't know who's better, but you know.
I don't mess with the denatured, but Smith's has these little 70% bottles for like 89 cents. You can get them just about any Smith's. You just have to look for them. So I bought a whole bunch of those. Those will be good for like secondary rinse. But yeah, so it's going to be more. It's going to be more stuff I want to do. You know, I felt like I don't know. I got that burnout that everybody talks about, where you feel like you're not doing anything that's making any kind of headway or making a difference. So, you know, and then you feel like, you feel like that, you know, nobody's watching, you know.
Right.
I mean, I know the vendors are happy. Matter Hackers has always been happy with my G-Tech's always been happy with my content. MakerBox is happy with my content. I don't talk to Kodak anymore because they aren't really around anymore. And we can talk about that if you guys want. But they're all happy with what I'm doing. It's just, I'm not happy with it. So if I'm not happy, what am I doing this for?
I'll be honest with you. I think this pandemic has kind of hurt all of us that way when it comes to our creativity.
Yeah.
Because like with me, I've had how many printers out here on the desk at one time? Was it like 5 printers?
And insane amount.
And we were printing those ear savers.
Yes. I was printing tons of those.
I went through almost a good portion of the filament I had. Went through a good portion of just printing them out and giving them away. Printing them out, giving them away. I did that for months. And finally, one day, I'm just like, I just was done doing that. I just figured, okay, now everybody's went to cloth masks. Everybody's kind of getting away from using those stupid blue surgical masks that just kill your ears. I can back off on it. And Josh was helping me out, and he was printing them out, and even he's backed off from it a great amount. We still have people every so often that wants them, but but for the most part, it's just complete burnout, because you take something that you love as a hobby, and suddenly it becomes more of a job. It's not fun anymore.
When you don't want to do it because you're like, you know what, I don't feel like doing this today.
Yeah.
When you get to that point,
walk away.
Walk away. That's your best bet. I mean, the last thing
you want to do is to hate your hobby.
Yeah.
Well, that, and you can also make it worse, because if it's because of a depression type of incident, or if it's because of a self-esteem kind of incident, or if it's just 100% creative burnout as an artist, any one of those three things is actually going to seem to get worse, because you'll start to loathe what you're doing, and you'll start to talk about how, oh, I don't feel like I'm up for this today, and then your followers are going to be like, man, this guy's never making content ever again. You're gonna it snowballs. And if you're depressed, it's just going to make you even more depressed, because if you post up something on social media like, oh man, I'm just not up for it today, and like nobody responds, that makes it 110% worse.
Yeah, it does.
So if you,
and I want to apologize to you, because with this new job I'm in, it takes so much time that I don't get on social media as much as I used to. And I apologize if you tagged me and I didn't see it, because I'm sure it's probably happened a lot.
I usually tag you guys when it's stuff that I know you'd be interested in, but I know you're busy, because if you're not online posting stuff, then you are busy. And you kind of, sometimes you got to put life in front of social media. Social media can't just be your life. It can't. Right. I don't know how people survive online all day and night like that. Like, don't you have any interaction with the people around you? Or are you like, like super rude, and you're like, hold on 1 second, I got to answer this tweet because it's super cool. I really want to get my thoughts into this. And like, your person you're with has got, a mouthful of food, and you're like, 1 second, I have to get to 1 second.
This is like text messages. If somebody text messages me during the day, it's almost a 50-50 chance whether I'll see that text message, because the group I work with does everything by text message by Greg Partis. Either that or walkie-talkie. Yeah. And when those text messages come through, and they come through so many at a time, and everybody's responding to everybody else because it's a group chat, you'll think, I just text somebody the other day. Let me go back and check something. And it's like, wait a minute. How far down in this list is it? And next thing you know, you're going down 50 different text messages before you come to it's like, no, it wasn't 5 days ago. Or no, it wasn't a week ago. You lose track of all that. Yeah,
you do. If you base your day around social media, you're going to find that you miss out on a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's like the birthdays. I'll try to get onto Facebook every so many days, and it's like, oh wait a minute, I missed so and so's birthday. I go on there, happy birthday 3 days later, and they're probably thinking, what a moron. Right. And it's like, I honestly just saw it.
Well, I just recently did some training for work, for harassment in the workplace and hostile work environment and stuff like that. And one of the questions was, does social media have an effect on your attitude at work?
Yes.
And I couldn't believe that was a question. I could not believe it. Like, if you wake up in the morning 2 hours before work and you're on Twitter and you suddenly get mad and you take that anger to work, there's apparently room for that. Apparently that's okay. Because I answered, I would not bring that to work. Or I think I answered something like, I don't think social media should have any effect on your workday. And I was wrong. I was wrong. Apparently that's acceptable. If you're having a rough day, whether it's in reality or on social media, your employer is supposed to give you a little space.
Really?
Yeah.
What a coddled bunch of crybabies. Now, I'm not saying that, I don't have my days, but wow.
What a coddled bunch of...
I'm serious though.
I love the way he put that.
I'm like, where's that line though between work life and home life and that differentiation?
That's the thing about when you get into management. You can't let
work
social media affect the way you are at work. You've got to be consistent. You've got to be open-minded. You've got to do what needs to be done. You can't go, oh my God. Oh, that thing last night. Oh, I can't believe it went the way it did. No.
I think it's like, you wake up and you check your notifications and your messages, and you find out that Kim Kardashian last night broke a nail.
Oh my God,
So
no!
you go to work that day, and all you can think about is how Kim's going to suffer for the rest of the day with that broken nail. So, and it affects your job because you'll be standing around in the kitchen and be like, "Did you see what happened to Kim's nail?" Because it affects you to a point where it becomes like part of your life. Like, I mean, that's an extreme thing, but for instance, with everything that went on last night, and I spent a little bit of time on social media looking at what was happening and what people were saying, and I found that a few celebrities, quote unquote celebrities, not in the community, but celebrities that I admired and liked, were siding with the side that I'm not. So I was like, okay, well, oh wait, why would I unfollow somebody for their political beliefs when I actually like that person as a whole?
Yeah.
I was like, my finger moved away from the unfollow. And I said, you know what? He's allowed to have his opinion.
Yeah.
That's what social media is all about. That's what Twitter is actually, that used to be their tagline, start a conversation. That is literally what it used to say when you logged onto Twitter, start a conversation.
Yeah.
So I can't hold that against somebody personally, that they don't have the same political beliefs as I do. Now, if it's, some sort of white supremacist stuff, then yeah, of course, unfollow. Because I don't want to be part of that.
That's not as open and shut as we once thought after watching. Oh my God! Yeah, that's one of those things where it's like,
really,
a normal person would just say, "I don't support that."
Yeah, disavow it on the spot.
So yeah.
I will say regarding the whole social media, bringing it into the workplace.
Yeah.
I will say that the day that Grant sadly passed away, the owners of my job knew him personally because he used to be a customer.
Yeah.
And I will.
That affected me as well, and I know it affected a lot of other people too.
Yeah, and that was definitely a very hard day at work. And I'm not going to go into the details, but let's just say everybody in there had a right to be very sad because the owners knew him, and I had heard all kinds of awesome stories about him from events and stuff. So in that sense, I had that personal connection. But even then, I kind of left, what had happened at the door and went in and did the best of my ability to my job. But I also
still got to do your job.
Yeah, I sympathize though with the owners because I could definitely tell everybody was being for the next few days. Everybody was just like very not that we're not nice to each other, but everybody was like super understanding. If it took a couple extra minutes to get an answer for something, we didn't care. We understood that, they were getting bombarded by different people saying condolences, and then different websites were asking for interviews, things like that. So it was just kind of like you have that respect for that person. And yes, you bring your sadness with you, but you still are there to do your job. And if you can't, just don't show up that day.
Yeah. So that happened with me when Chadwick Boseman passed away from his colon cancer, the Black Panther guy.
Yeah.
I literally woke up to see that news in my feed from Apple. Tragically, Chadwick Boseman has passed away, and I was like, "What?" He kept it. It was personal to him. It was his part, and that's why I admire him even more, even in death. Because he kept that from everybody. That was nobody's damn business that he was suffering from colon cancer, or what Crohn's disease, or whatever that was that he died of. Colon cancer.
Yeah.
That was nobody's damn business. So he kept it to himself. He didn't need to. And then I think I'm like, all these movies I watched with him in there, and to know that he was suffering in pain, but he loved his craft so much that he was willing to suffer to entertain people and to make himself happy. So realizing that for the whole day, that's all I could think about. So yeah, social media does affect your life at work. It can affect your attitude or your disposition. But when it gets to the point where it interferes with the customer's needs, that's where I kind of draw the line.
Right.
Or
if you tell me in the middle of the day, you need to go home because Kim Kardashian just broke up with her latest boyfriend and you're just having a rough time with that, I think I'd tell you you're fired.
I know, right? Yeah, that's one thing about social media is
you have to be understanding of people's feelings in the world we live in now, because 20 years ago you could say some shit in an office and nobody would say a dang thing. And nowadays you say some shit in an office and you're unemployed and you're blacklisted. So it's just words, but freedom of speech has its limits when it comes to in the workplace now. It used to be, you could literally get away with anything. I mean, we used to watch Mad Men and laugh at the environment that they were portraying. And then I was like, talk to some people, because I was in advertising at the time, and I talked to a couple people, and they're like, oh yeah, that's exactly how it was.
Yeah.
That is like exactly how it was in advertising in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. People smoking, philandering, having affairs, drinking on the job, talking shit to each other and to other people and demeaning other people. And that was 100% perfectly acceptable because nobody would do anything about it. Yeah. So over the last 10 years, you know, with the Me Too movement and with recently with Black Lives Matter and a lot of the other movements that have been coming up, people are more conscious of what they're doing at work and what they're doing in the public eye. And they're maybe taking a breath before they make that statement, or taking a minute before they make that action that could affect hundreds of people badly. So I think it's a good thing. And at the same time, it has its problems. There's some places in there, there's some gray areas, I guess, that, you know, like if I'm talking to my buddy in a closed door situation and we're in there laughing and we're making crude jokes and somebody walks by and happens to hear one of our crude jokes, but it's not directed.
Oh my God, did you hear what he said?
It's not directed at them. I could literally get in trouble for that. And, you know, they're like, oh, you know, time and a place, take it off. But like, I don't see him outside of work. He lives in, you know, the other side of town. He's got his own life. You know, you have work relationships and you have home relationships, and sometimes they cross over, but it's very rare that you hang out with people you work with anymore, because people have such separate lives and they're in such separate worlds. And, you know, with especially in Las Vegas, where you may never cook at home, you're always going out to dinner because of the town that we live in. But nowadays, you need to take it home. You need to take it off campus. You need to take it private, because you really don't know how you're affecting other people by what you're saying or doing. Because if you can't read minds, you can't understand that person has been, say you work with somebody who's pro-life or, you know, whatever, and you make some crude statement about that, and they get offended by it and they go tell HR. Well, where's the gray area saying like, oh, I guess the other three people in the room who laughed at the joke thought it was funny, but you didn't. So if I had known this would offend you, maybe I wouldn't have said it around you. Yeah. But you're not allowed to ask people about that stuff anymore either. You can't say, hey, what's it like to be in your situation? How do you get along with these people, or whatever it is? You can't ask those questions anymore because you'll offend somebody. Right. I used to work in a pool hall when I was growing up, believe it or not. And anybody that came in the pool hall who wasn't 100% normal, had some sort of disability, or maybe they had some sort of, you know, not common defect or birth defect or something like that, we would always ask them, how did that come about? You know, how did you get that? And where did that scar come from? Oh, that's a cool looking scar. Where'd you get it? Now you can't ask people that. You ask, hey, where'd you get that scar? He's like, oh, my husband tried to kill me. Oh, shit, sorry. I thought maybe you got in a knife fight with somebody and it's a cool story, you know. But when I was working in the pool hall, we used to hear these crazy. We had a guy that came in and served in Vietnam. He had a really, really rough scar on the side of his face. The very first day I asked him, I said, where'd you get that scar? He goes, oh, it's an Agent Orange burn. I was like, holy crap, tell me the story. And he told the story. Now, if I go up to somebody and go, hey, how'd you get that scar? They'd be like, it's none of your damn business. Yeah. So like I said, there's a gray area where you have to find it. You have to find that gray area, or you just don't talk to people in a personal way at your work. Yeah. It's all business.
It's amazing how in a socialized society that we live in today, where we've got our Facebook, we got our Twitter, we got all these social media outlets, that just being social in person has fell by the wayside.
Yeah. It's a distance thing. We become distant from each other. People will sit on the other side of the room and tweet to each other. Yeah. You know, I mean, it's harder to start a conversation when I can type and think carefully of what I'm going to say here on Twitter, and, you know, take my time. It may take 10 minutes to formulate a good tweet so I know exactly what I'm saying. But if you were having a natural conversation with somebody, you may fumble your words or say something incorrect. People are so paranoid about doing that, they would rather be on social media than in person.
Right.
Which is weird. It's weird. It's like, I'll hit you up later on Twitter. I'm like, why can't you just tell me now?
Exactly.
Why can't you just tell me now? Why do I have to wait?
Exactly.
I hear you. Well, I'm gonna have to balance in a few because I gotta take care of a few things before I go to bed. Cause I gotta go to work tomorrow. But if you guys want to continue this on, that's perfectly
Well,
fine.
actually, I think I'm gonna have to crash here pretty soon. I imagine you gotta get up pretty early tomorrow too, don't you?
Yeah, the girls start school at 7 a.m., so I have to get up around 6:30 and make sure the lights are on and, get their chairs ready and stuff. It's just, it's a habit I do, and then it depends on how I feel. I usually just stay up until I start work at 9. So, it's a long morning before I even get to work some days. But yeah, like I said, this is the situation we're living in now. I don't have a problem with it. I actually like working from home. I think it's pretty cool. I like having the kids learning in the next room if they have. I mean, they haven't come with me with any questions because they're smart kids, so I don't have to worry about that.
Right.
Which is really nice, having really smart kids. Really, really nice to have them. I know there's other parents that are like being driven nuts by this distance learning, but I'm not, because my kids are smart. So I'm not saying you have dumb kids, anybody. I'm not saying y'all have dumb kids. I'm just saying.
Oh, really, Jeff? Really? Let me tweet that. I'm just kidding.
I'm just saying, it's nice to know that, they haven't come to me in 6 weeks with a question, and it's not because I'm not unapproachable, because I literally walk around the corner to where they are. They like me, so that's a nice thing too. So
that's really good.
Yeah, no, it's an early start to the day, and there are mornings, like I said, when I get up and instead of getting on social media, I was like, well, you know what I'd rather do? Go back to bed.
Yeah.
So get them started in the morning and go back to bed for 2.5 hours, and then just go straight to work, right to the work computer, and not even think about social media. But I have to be honest with you guys. I really missed the back and forth with people on social media, especially on Twitter. You start a conversation, and the next thing you know, you come back to it 3 hours later, and it's gone off the rails. There's puns. Brian will tell you all about that. There's like 1,000 pun jokes. There's dad jokes. It's like the subject got lost somewhere, like 60 tweets ago. What you guys were actually talking about. I miss that. I really do. I thought it was fun to wake up, in the morning and see like all my overseas friends saw the tweet, and they're like started a whole conversation on their own and had nothing to do with what I said. It was cool. I liked it. Now, I miss it. So now I'm like, but do I want to be back into that point where if I feel like I have to post stuff for admiration instead of posting it because I want to?
Yeah, that's all these do it because you want to, not because you have to.
Yeah. And there's this new guy on Twitter. Well, he's been on Twitter for a while. He's also on Instagram. His name's Brett Lawler. He designed these vases in SCAD, I guess. And he posted the files up on My Mini Factory. And I told him, I said, I'm going to take this one and I'm going to make a lamp out of it. I'm going to make an upright lamp, pole going up in here with the lights. I'm going to make a lamp out of this. And normally, when I say that stuff on the internet or on Twitter, people are like, yeah, it's Jeff Wright. He's never going to do it. I got the parts. I just have to put it together. So,
Famous last one. I just got to do this one thing. No, jokes aside, though.
That's awesome.
That thing seriously is going to look amazing.
Yes, it
yeah,
is.
I mean, it's just one of those things, like I said, I just don't want to be that guy anymore.
Right.
I felt like I was not being 100%, what do you call it? Transparent, whatever you want to call it. I wasn't being who I was being who the vendors wanted me to be, pushing their stuff and tweeting is like 3-4 times a day just to make, because I felt that was my job. That was my job to be social media dude in 3D printing. And then
we all had these illusions of grandeur as far as we're all going to be able to quit our jobs and do YouTube. And then it finally comes to the point where it's like, it's not going to happen.
I mean, even if you ask, like, was it Uncle Jesse Clayton? He mentioned in a Twitter thread that for a video he made all of $67, and that was spread out over 3 months. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, YouTube's really paying the bills. But there's other things that come with it. See, like if I had 100,000 subscribers and I was getting 30, 40,000 views or whatever it was, the 30 or $40 or whatever came trickling in would be a nice little pocket change to help pay for product or help pay for materials. But the people who are doing it professional, like Joel, they have sponsors who, kick in a few extra pieces of change and, help them with something. And if you play your cards right, you could do barter where you could, connect with the proper sponsor. You could say, hey, I want to do this with HelloFresh.
Yeah.
Hey, what? I don't want any money. Why don't you send me 6 months worth of your food and you can sponsor my videos. Well, now you've fed your family for 6 months.
Right.
So, I mean, I can see how being on YouTube full time could have some benefits, but it's more than a full-time job. I mean, I think honestly, I think Joel never sleeps because I see him in the morning. I go online. I'm like, oh, it's 3 a.m. and they're still up tweeting. They're still online. It's like, I it's not that I don't have the energy. I just don't have the bandwidth to do something like that. I mean, I'm already an insomniac and depressed and kind of crazy. I don't need to make it any worse.
You don't need to add fuel to that fire. And I
don't. I'm slightly crazy as it is. I don't the pressures of social media and to be constantly on. If you're like Philip DeFranco, you do one show a day. You're not on all day. He's not on Twitter all day. He's not on Instagram all day. He puts out his episode. He does a little bit of commentary to the one tweet, and that's it. If you're a full-time YouTuber, say in 3D printing or DIY or any of those other things, you're 24/7. You're always online. You're always on social media. You're always having conversations with your peers. It can be overwhelming at times, and it got overwhelming to me, and a little bit of my negativity slipped out onto the internet, and now we're here.
No, I think you did right. I think you're going to do great, especially now that you're going to do it at your own pace, on your own terms.
Yeah.
That I appreciate what you're doing. I think that's the best. I tried doing the 2 video a week thing. I did that for years.
Yep, me too.
Just finally came to whenever I changed jobs, when I went from, which I can say now, I used to work for Sears Auto Center. that my store here in Salinas, they closed up on Sunday. That was their last day. So
I saw those pictures. That was sad.
Yeah, it's sad because I still have a lot of friends that work there, and I feel really bad for them because, especially in the state of California
and the current crisis,
they're not letting anybody sign up for unemployment for 2 weeks.
What?
Yes, they froze unemployment for 2 weeks as far as signing up for new cases because they're having to update their computer system and clear their backlog. Yeah,
God help.
When you get a chance, Google it. It's pretty bad.
That's borderline criminal.
It is criminal. In my estimation, it is criminal.
It is criminal.
Yeah, but
there's people out there suffering, and if 2 weeks is enough to put you, how long can you go without food? How long can you go without water?
Yeah.
How long can you go off without having AC to keep your house cool when it's 110 degrees outside?
Right.
You can't.
You can't, exactly. I mean, a Japman who was saying because he's trying to keep his AC low, he wasn't going to stream. It had nothing to do with his disposition or anything. You just can't afford it, man. You can't have the AC cranked up all day just to keep a room cool. You can't do it. Nobody can afford that. And I don't think he's working yet. So
yeah, I'm not sure if he is or not.
I don't
think he is. I think he's. I wish I could find him a job because he's a super smart guy.
Yeah, he is.
He's probably one of the smarter people that I know that I've associated with on Twitter. Like I could ask him literally anything electronics related, and he would snap that answer out quicker than I could get my reply back. Yeah. So it just sucks that he's not still over there at Ray's. That seemed like the perfect fit for him. So, but either way, it's I don't understand how 2 weeks, man.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense, with the Sears thing too. So,
yeah. But anyway, when I worked for them, I had it where I could come out here, I could do everything because I worked right here in town.
Right.
Now that I'm working 30 minutes away, it's amazing how that hour traveling time each day kind of takes
I'm
your extra time away from you.
And I'm minimum 2 hours commute round trip for my job, so
Yeah.
I'm even longer. I know what you mean. I'm driving in the car like, man, I could be editing, I could be filming, could be
Yeah.
designing, and I'm in the car and I'm going past that same bridge, high railroad tracks, high cardboard
that
box
said,
factory.
With that said, though, I wouldn't trade my job for anything in the world. Right now, I am really enjoying this job. I'm learning a lot.
You're
And
getting awesome training and stuff too, right? They're sending you everywhere for training.
yeah, eventually they'll send me back east for more training. But yeah, you learn a lot, and it's being able to work around other people that have been in their business for as long as they have and learning from them. It's just when you're older, it takes a little longer to for everything to kind of stick.
Trust me, I know.
But thankfully, they're really good people, and it's a very, very rewarding job.
And it's a good job too, because
I'm going to say where it's at. All I can say is it's a really good sized retailer. But
yeah, it's a good job that has retirement and
yes,
benefits and stuff like that, where a lot of companies don't offer that.
Yeah, a lot of companies don't offer that anymore, but they do. They offer it to all their associates, from I can tell.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
and
it's like,
being it's retail too.
you name it, you can get it.
And it doesn't seem like they're going to tank tomorrow, like Sears
No.
constantly was like, I mean, that
There's
was
no chance. There is no chance. They have inserted themselves into the system, and they are a leader in retail sales.
Yes,
But
they are.
you would see those kind of things like a retirement from like a corporate job, like my job, where if I work there 30 years, I'm vested or whatever, and I can work my way to retirement.
Yeah.
I don't even think my job working for a television station has. They may have retirement, but I don't think they offer it to the people who aren't management and salaried. I'm salaried, but I'm not management. So,
Oh.
but I mean, there was at the advertising agency, they did offer vesting after 10, 20 years or whatever. And I was there for 12, but I had quit, went to LA and worked for an agency there for a month, and that sucked. So I begged for my job back and came back to Vegas. So there was like a break in my employment there, so they couldn't say that was a constant 10 years. You're vested and you're going to use this as retirement money.
Right.
But like with you, with a retail giant like that, that's awesome. That's like something you stay with until they pay you to go home.
Yeah, it was a once in a lifetime opportunity, and I'm glad I took it. I still feel guilty because I left my friends and everybody behind at Sears.
Yeah, but Sears was going anyway. So
yeah, that's true. There was no change in the course. That boat was already had the hole in it.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing. When I left the advertising agency, it was the same thing. There was talk of that they were going to sell the agency to another agency, and then they would downsize immediately. And since I'd been there for 12 and a half years, I'd survived 2 recessions and all kinds of stuff to keep my job. I made sure I inserted myself perfectly into the company.
Yeah.
And I had no intention of ever leaving. I was going to stay at SKG forever. I love that place. I mean, I can't even tell you how many things that's like a 3-hour video where I could talk about working at an ad agency, how cool it was. Yeah. But as soon as I heard, the rumors, and I started to see that there's a possibility of doing that, I started looking for another job for the first time in 12 and a half years. It was the weirdest situation. I felt bad. I cried leaving that job. Like, I don't want to go, man. I don't want to go. I know this working at the TV is like a dream job for me. But at the same time, I was leaving people I had known for 12 years. Like I knew their kids. Some of these people had helped me through some hard times. My boss sat in a waiting room of an oral surgeon on her laptop working because she was my ride home. I mean, there's so many things that happen. And then it's like, yeah, they're selling it. And they did 2 years after I left. Yeah. And everybody that I had called friends there had gone off and, to other companies and are now doing their own things and their own thing. And my art director, he started his own agency, and it turns out he's the agency of record for my wife's companies that she works for. So the Green Valley Grocery, their artwork is done by my old creative director, Steve. So it's like, if this town could get any smaller, I leave a company and then a year later, my wife's working with him in a capacity. It's like, how does that happen?
That's something.
But that's the exact same thing with you with Sears. Is I felt bad, man. I mean, I literally felt bad about leaving. Like, is there any way I can take some of you people with me? But it turned out that
too. I'm like,
I know he tried.
Come. I'm still calling them up. I'm like, come.
They have an automotive department.
Exactly, and I'm over it. Come.
Well, one of the silver lining with the agency is that my studio manager, she went to work for MGM and she brought a ton of the employees over there as soon as she started. So that was kind of nice that people were able to do what I wanted to do, and keep these people employed in the same field, doing the same thing with the same clients. So, but that was tough, man. It's tough to leave a job you've been for. At that point, it had been a quarter of my life.
Yeah.
I mean, high school is a quarter of your life, or schooling is a quarter of your life. So imagine from kindergarten to the end of high school. That's how long I worked for this company.
Yeah.
To me, that was a miracle that I survived more than 2 years.
Yeah.
But then add 10 and a half more to that. That was tough.
Yeah.
But you've got this great job. You've got the retirement. You've got the training going on, and you are happier now than you were before Sears announced that they were going to be closing stores.
Yeah.
I can tell a totally different disposition in you. Like you were happy working at Sears, but you are really happy working where you are now.
Yeah. It's a lot more rewarding. A lot
it
more.
Is. And I can tell it changes a person, and it changed me working for the television station.
It's just that your time for being able to do YouTube, to do 3D printing, that all kind of shifts.
It just gets a little bit smaller.
Yeah. But I still got projects I want to work on. I just need to get the time to do it.
Yeah.
In fact, now that I got the pickup, now there's a couple things I got to do inside my pickup that I'm going to have to.
Collab.
Yeah, I'm going to need his help on editing some stuff here.
Ask out Fusion 360 because it's superior to Tinkercad.
Yeah, in this situation, it will be.
I don't hold anything against either program. At the end of the day, it's like if Jeff saw what I did in Photoshop to make cover photos, I think he'd cringe and cry in the corner. But if I saw him what he can do, I'd probably be doing the same thing. So,
well, with me, with motion graphics and video editing and stuff like that, it's the same with, like I'm showing people how to do stuff and I'm not touching the mouse. And they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, I don't need the mouse. To edit in Premiere, you really don't need the mouse. You can move through the whole keyboard. And I was showing that to one of my coworkers before COVID happened. The guy was like, you and your quick keys, and he left the room.
It's like that with me in Fusion. We used to have an area called the Design Lounge where we kind of hang out between classes and stuff. And I'd usually show up there early and stay late because I had nothing better to do at the place I was renting at. So I'd be in there working away on Fusion on like a personal project, and an instructor or TA or student would walk by and they'd just be like, how in the heck are you that fast? And I'm like, it's just years and years and years of CAD experience. I'm like, that's all it is. It's years and years of just learning those hotkeys, and you can just smash things out. And people are like, I'm like, I can work faster with the hotkeys than when I can going to the tab and scrolling. I'm just like, I can't do that. I can't.
Well, I remember working in the very first version of Photoshop. So, like back then, especially on the Mac, you kind of wanted to use the quick keys because it was fun. You know what I mean? Like it was different. It was a fun experience. And then I worked on Windows for quite a while in graphic design, and I learned all the quick keys for Windows machines too, which I didn't know existed because they're hard to find. It's like an underscore type of thing in the menu at the top. You can see there's like a letter highlighted that opens up that particular menu with a quick key. So I started doing that as well. So it got to the point where people were annoyed to be sitting next to me. They're like, dude, slow down. I don't understand what you're doing. You are literally going too fast. What did you just do? What button did you do? What are you doing? What are you doing?
That's literally what it was like when I try and teach my classmates how to do anything. I literally had to go at what to me felt like a snail's pace, which was like a normal person's pace and probably a little too fast at that. I'm just like, this is like torturously slow for me because I'm so used to working so fast. But it's like I had to explain every single step so I totally understand.
Yeah.
And I felt bad when my classmates would just take one look and go, I don't know how you can do that. And I'm like, I'm not trying to make anybody feel bad in here at all. That is not the goal.
You're not Jimmy Fallon, the IT guy. Move. Move.
Well, guys, let's go ahead and call it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Jeff, for joining us. I appreciate it.
It's been
Calvin?
an honor.
Thank you for joining me.
Go
Anytime.
fist bump. Go fist bump.
Never been in the chat. Thank you very much for joining us. Can't even tell you how much I appreciate that you guys even popped in and spent your time, and spent your evening with us. Appreciate it. And we got to do this more often.
Yeah.
We do. I mean, I have no problem. The evenings are not a big deal. I've got an office here now. I can shut the door. I do talk kind of loud, but that's me. So.
Yeah.
That's Jeff. I mean, you know what? That's what makes you and makes you awesome. I mean, what more can we say?
We love you, man.
We do.
Oh, thanks, guys. I love you guys too, and I appreciate you inviting me on the stream tonight. I got a chance to kind of let everybody know, anybody who's interested. And somebody had mentioned, I think it was, it was Michael Wukatek said, when you start your new channel, do a quick posting on your old channel to let us know. So just to clarify, the old channel is staying, but after talking to you guys tonight, I think I'll do a clarification video of why I'm doing this.
That would be awesome.
I think it's worth doing because honestly, I feel like, and this is something that I can totally attest to, is everybody thinks that YouTube is just, hi, check out this roll of solder, and the video goes up and it magically just gets up there. And it's like there's so much work and time and effort and energy that goes into it that nobody will ever see. And I feel like, if more people have an understanding of why it takes so much work and why we find comments where people are nitpicking stuff, so why we take it so personal, I think it might help give people a better understanding of why it's such an investment. It's not just I whip my phone out and content happens. I think it's worth doing because it's a good cautionary tale to people who might want to get into it, who are in it, and just to clear the air. Like, look, this is what happened. I feel bad it went down this way, but I'm just letting it all out and take it or leave it. That's what it is.
You don't know how bad it is until you get cussed out in Russian.
Oh God.
I hope I never have that situation. I'm just going to say this right now. I hope
I
never
have
that situation.
Ukrainian, Russian, you name it. I was cussed out in
Eastern
it.
Bloc.
That Harry Line video, that hit a nerve.
Yeah, anytime you guys want to do this, I'll join in the stream. Heather, she's off to bed now, but she enjoys sitting there watching the chat and stuff. So, and I like talking to you guys. And if I'm going to be doing this again, we can make it a regular thing. I can come on every other week or something. So
Awesome.
Yeah,
Let's start making a plan to do that.
That sounds like a plan.
yeah,
Cool.
And we can talk a little bit more about 3D printing stuff and less about all that other crap.
We'll make 3D printing great again.
You did not.
I
Jess.
did.
Oh.
Where's my comb? Good. Gonna make 3D printing great again. Okay, never mind. Guys, thank you very much for joining us. Take care. We'll catch you in the next one.
See you guys. Thanks for joining us.